Hi, y'all. So, you always know when we're in town because my hair gets really frizzy after I wash it, and the only time I wash it is when we go to town. So, we're in town right now. We're in Waynesboro, Virginia, Jesus. Uh, Waynesboro, uh,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. We're not even in Maryland anymore. Anyway, but we're not talking about where we are today. We're talking about where we were last week. So, welcome to week 13 of Chica and Sunsets Take a Little Walk. We're talking about June 14th through the 20th, which was our 13th week on the trail. And man, what a week it was. We walked a lot of miles and we spent a lot of money. So let's get to those statistics and tell you all about it. So uh, we started on June 14th at Lewis Mountain Campground. That was at mile 915.6 for those of you scoring at home. And we ended up in Harpers Ferry at mile 1023.1, giving us 107.5 miles for the week, which is pretty close to our biggest week ever, but not quite there, three or 4 miles off. So here's where the pain comes. We spent a total of $741 over that week, which is pretty high. I don't think Chica knew that that's how much we spent. She just gave me a look. So
You think that's funny?
this is how that's broken down. First, we'll talk about accommodations. So it's been a very wet. Virginia and West Virginia was very wet, rainy, and so the days before, right after we're getting out of Shenandoah National Park, it was raining a lot, and so we took refuge. And we took refuge at a very expensive place, Skyland Resort. And I think the room there it was $160. And then they had a brewery there, so we had to have dinner, and that was expensive. So that was the beginning. Then on another very rainy day, just a couple days later, we stayed at a hostel, and that was $57. And then we were just basically drowning and decided that we needed to take a zero, which we hadn't taken in a long while. So we took another day. We went from the hostel into town and stayed at a Super 8, and that was $80. So accommodations racked up some good money to the tune of $297. And I've recommitted myself to the fact that I do not care for communal living. I don't like the hostels at all. I don't like being, the mountain house hostel we were at, beautiful grounds. They have a large house, was built in the late 1800s, I think. They're redoing, has a lot of history. It's beautiful. It's going to be a nice bed and breakfast. The servants' quarters, which we were thrown into, is their hostel. And basically, we had a queen size bed. Then there was a sheet. And then on the other side of the sheet was another queen size bed and another couple. And I sat up at one time and I was able to look in on the other couple, and it was just really awkward. If it's not that, then you're in a bunk bed. The previous hostel, my feet were basically on top of the head of the guy who was in the bunk behind me. It's not for me. I think Chica has less of a stigma about it than I do, but really, for two people staying in a hostel for $30 or paying $70 or $80 at a motel where you have some privacy, that is I think what I'm going to try to push for moving forward. The key is sometimes the hostels will come pick you up. We don't like paying for shuttles. And although we've gotten hitches every time we've tried, which was twice, we don't care to hitch. So that makes it kind of awkward getting into town. Anyway, so that's my spiel on being hostile against hostels. So, in-town food. If you're going to stay at all these places, you're going to eat. And you know, we tend to not do the buffets. We tend to go to a restaurant and we tend to have a drink or two, adult beverage or two, which really cranks up the bill at the end. We're much more of a drink 2 or 3 beers with dinner than take a 6-pack home and put in the refrigerator. It's just part of our meal. So in-town food, we were in the Shenandoah. So we ate at every single wayside there was, which meant a burger, maybe a shake, $20 or $30 meal every day or every other day, because there was a wayside taking care of the drivers and the hikers. So we spent $255 on replacing calories. Resupply was $189 of various things. So all that equals $741, and divide that in by 107.5 miles. We get $6.89 per mile, or per person per mile, $3.45, which is our highest week ever. However, it really didn't damage the total hike so far, which we've spent $5,311. We've gone 1,023.1 miles, so $519 or $2.60 per person per mile, which isn't awful. We still have time to bring that down a bit, and we will. Okay, so tough part's out of the way. My arm's getting tired. Someone asked, and we'll get to questions here in a little bit, do we use selfie sticks because our videos seem to be so not shaky? That has everything to do with the iPhone 7 Plus. It has digital image stabilization, and so it makes everything that is shaky smooth. I did buy a stick pick, which is a little apparatus you put at the end of your hiking pole, but I really don't like the stick pick look of being all the way out here like that. So I just hold it, and I know sometimes I cut off my own head, but that's what it is. So we've talked about money and mileage. Let's talk about milestones. We passed the 1,000K mark, the 1,000 mile mark. We hit Harpers Ferry, which is the, people call it the psychological halfway point, or the symbolic halfway point. I call bullshit on all that because we're so far away from the halfway point that it's just frustrating to me to think that we're near the halfway point. I understand it as a marketing tool, but I'm not going to say it anymore because I looked at the map and there's still about 100 miles to go before we get to the halfway mark, and it's not the halfway mark of anything, psychological, symbolic, or otherwise. We got to see the ATC, got our picture taken, put in the book. We were numbers like 965 and 966. The lady had said that more through hikers had come through on the day we were there than they did last year on the same day, total, not just that day. And there were 50 hikers because we showed up at the ATC at the end of the day. She had already serviced 50 other hikers who had come through their offices that day. Pretty incredible, the number of people still out here. Okay, and this isn't really a milestone, but it is a first. I removed my first tick. We were sitting down for lunch, and usually after we walk through high grass, at our first break, we'll take a look at our legs and just make sure that there's nothing crawling around on us. And there was. It wasn't attached. It was just there, finding a place to stick its fangs or whatever biting apparatus it has. And I flicked them away. I'm sure you're supposed to dispose of them some other way, but I flicked them away. Okay, so let's get to your questions. Excuse my hand. First off, I want to say one of our viewers is from Iceland, and he commented the other day about home brewing and my love of craft beer, which I'm drinking right now. Spring House She Monster, which is an IPA, and this is a local Pennsylvania. We're in Pennsylvania beer. So I wanted to give a shout out to Kenny from Iceland, who's watching and has a love of craft beer and home brews there in Iceland. Okay, someone asked, can we do a mid or a halfway point gear review and gear what we're carrying with us? And we're going to do that. It might take a while because that's gonna be two very long videos, one for me and one for Chica. But I want to cover all the gear that we're using, all the gear that we started with, and kind of rate it. There's only a couple pieces that I really don't care for, but I'm going to really dig in and tell you why I don't like those two pieces of gear. And then I'm going to cover the rest of the gear that we have and tell you kind of how it's wearing, if we're having any problems with it, and what I like about it. So be patient. Those will come in the next week or two or more. Roger asks, what's the meaning of the double white blazes? Okay, as we're hiking, everybody knows that the 2 by 6 inch white stripe on the trees and on rocks kind of marks the way to Maine, or if you're going south to Georgia. A lot of times you'll see a double, what's called a double white blaze, which is one blaze on top of another, or two blazes, one on top of the other, but the top one is offset either to the left or to the right. Okay, so the easiest ones are the ones that are offset to the left or the right. That just means the trail is about to change direction to whichever way the top stripe is leaning. If it's offset to the left, you're going to be turning left. If it's offset to the right, you're going to be turning to the right. The ones where the blazes are one on top of another and they're not offset, sometimes I scratch my head and wonder what the hell they're for, because they really, number one, are overused, and number two, sometimes don't really signify anything at all. They could signify the intersection of another trail. They could signify that you're going to take a 90-degree turn, even though there's no other trail around and there's no other way you could possibly go. They want you to know that you need to turn, even though you already know that you need to turn. And sometimes I don't know what the hell they signify. Seriously, sometimes it's a head scratcher. So that's what the double white blazes are for. Let's see. Abby, can you wash the clothes that have been treated with permethrin? Okay, so in the last video, I talked about sending off our clothes to be treated with permethrin from a company called Insect Shield. And yes, you can wash them, and you should. Please, we stink bad enough. But no, seriously, the clothes are good for 70 washes, which is plenty for a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. Emil, okay, yeah, we've already answered this one. So he was asking about the camera that we were using and how we make the videos so less, not shaky, and that's just comes bundled with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. Actually, they started it with the 6 and 6 Plus last year or 2 years ago, and what really sold us on the iPhone 7 was Craig M, who captured his hike on video last year. We said, wow, all his walking through the woods videos were not shaky and they were just smooth. How the hell do you do that? And we asked him the same question, and Emil just asked us, and he says the iPhone, and he doesn't really do anything other than use the iPhone. So we bought the iPhone 7, which now has an even better camera. So that's all the questions, and that's all we've got for this week. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. Give us a thumbs down if you don't. Hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for asking questions, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.